Barry Gardner.
Madam Deputy Speaker, the good news is that 185 apartments around Wembley Stadium in my constituency are now ready to occupy. The bad news is that nobody can move into them because the building safety regulator has sat on their Gateway 2 applications for 6 months and their Gateway 3 applications for 2 months. We have a housing shortage. Can the Leader of the House ensure that we have a debate on the delays and dysfunctionality of the building safety regulator?
Leader of the House.
Well, can I thank him for that question? He will be aware that through the Building Safety Act brought in by the previous government, we do now have a building safety regulator, and it is right that in the context in which that regulator came about following the Grenfell Tower, that we do ensure that buildings are signed off as safe and are able to be signed off as safe before they can be occupied and sold. But I'm happy to look into this particular case and why it's taken so long for that to happen.
Right, Matt Nally.
Mr. Speaker, safety experts have raised concerns about 95 high-rise blocks and nearly 300 other buildings found to contain high-pressure laminate panels in Scotland. 8 years on from Grenfell, the Scottish Government has shockingly spent less than 10% of the £97 million received from the UK Government for cladding remediation in 2020. Does the Minister agree with me that the Scottish Government has dragged its feet on this matter for far too long and has to act now to make these buildings safe?
Mr.
Speaker, I agree that remediation has been too slow. This Government is laser focused on speeding up remediation of dangerous buildings, and I encourage the Scottish Government, for which this is a devolved matter, to increase their efforts, like we are, to increase the pace of remediation in Scotland.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Following the Grenfell tragedy, the residents of Northpoint in my constituency of Bromley and Biggin Hill have had to pay charges of nearly £700,000 for waking watch, fire wardens and alarms. Given the Government's manifesto commitment to better protect leaseholders from costs, what steps can the Minister take to help my constituents with the reimbursement of those charges?
Minister.
I'm grateful for that question. Sadly, I hear these stories across the country as well. The reality is the best step that can be taken would be for the developer to enter into the cladding safety scheme, to get the building remediated and get those costs removed. In the meantime, we make money available through the Waking Watch Replacement Fund so that that particularly expensive way of keeping a building safe could be replaced as well. So there is ways of tackling that pain in the short term, but the reality is the only solution really is the remediations of buildings, and that's why we're pushing on so hard through our remediation acceleration plan.
Rachel Hopkins.
For fire safety remediation works for buildings over 11 metres, there's a cap on non-cladding costs and leaseholders given 10 years to pay remediation costs. However, my constituent in a building under 11 metres has been informed he may have to pay costs within 12 months because the freeholder is a housing association and the restrictions around correct and debt. Would the Minister work with me to resolve this issue and allow some flexibility?
I'd be very happy to take that meeting. Our approach to under 11-metre buildings is to take them on a case-by-case basis and to seek to find a solution, and I'm very happy to do so with my honourable friend.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thousands of my constituents across Southampton Itchen have had to put up with years of misery because of unsafe fire protection in their own homes, developers dragging their feet and leaseholders having to foot the bill for mistakes they didn't make. Does the Prime Minister agree that enough is enough and it's time for developers to make all homes safe? Yes. And will he reassure leaseholders who bought their homes in good faith that this government has their back?
Prime Minister.
I thank him for raising this really important issue. Too many buildings are still unsafe and the speed of delivery has been far too slow. Our action plan sets out measures to identify buildings at risk and fix them faster. And my message, Mr. Speaker, is clear. The funding is there to fix this, and there's no excuse not to deliver for residents.